Well, hey there, and welcome to this edition of Real or Rumor.
Hi, everyone.
We were just comparing Miller Moth notes. They're horrible. Still, I mean, it seemed like they went away for a little while, and they're just back.
Well, hopefully by the time this airs, they have fluttered away.
I hope so.
Way, way away. But it's interesting though, because we were, kind of talking to John also. He's off screen here, and he hasn't really had any. And
I know.
You and
I know.
I think they're at our house. They're hanging out.
They have to be.
We're the cool people.
Yeah. Well, they've been really bad in our neighborhood.
Yeah.
We were, and I was telling you this a couple of nights ago. We were driving home from dinner, and just driving up to our house, the next door neighbors, it was just like raining Miller moths around one of their trees.
Yeah, yeah.
So Daryl's like racing into the garage, shuts the garage door behind us, and I still think a couple came in with us, but
you can't get
they're
away
that
from
bad.
Yeah. Well, and as I was telling you with the whole garage scenario, that my husband went out and was getting something out of the garage, and we have a window, and they like to just be at that window. And he said when he went out there, there was nothing happening, and then when he shut the door, it must have stirred them, because all of a sudden they just rose, and he couldn't see out the window. It was just solid moths. So he's like, how am I going to get him out? So he got one of his big, he got one of these big shop lights, went over to the door and turned it on. It was like, boom, and of course, here they came. I could hear him screaming. Sorry, hon. I could hear him yelling, also yelling, and running out into the backyard with this light and all the moths following him. So that's the little hint we figured out.
Okay, that's good.
You can get them in the dark, get a nice bright light, they'll follow you anywhere.
Well, one night we even had our vacuum out, the little canister one. Where, you do the sound really well. That's what we did for like half an hour, and it's like just let them suffocate in the dust.
Yeah, exactly. Well, anyway,
so they're not good.
Well, hopefully
soon
they'll move on. It's just our year.
Yeah,
it's just our year for doing that.
It was time.
Yeah.
Got a rumor for you today, Amy.
Perfect.
Big surprise, right?
Yeah.
Hey, here's the rumor. The city of Greeley was just named a bronze level bicycle friendly community.
Yeah, this is so true. And
true.
anybody who's been kind of watching around the community and watching our show here, we've hinted at that Greeley is a very bicycle friendly city, and we've actually just had a recent designation for that. For those who may have not seen the signage, there's a few signs out in the community, and that's a recognition for that.
Great.
For that bicycle friendliness, I guess you could say. And it's a designation that comes from the League of American Bicyclists.
I was just going to ask you who makes the designation.
Yeah. So it's a League of American Bicyclists, and they're actually out of Washington, D.C.
Okay.
And what they do is you actually have to send in an application. This is a big, long process. And they evaluate what you have going on in the community. And if you meet the they have different levels. You meet those designations, then you get a score, I guess.
That's awesome that they're looking at cities from all over the country.
All over the country, and of course this is exciting for all the staff who have put all the work in to make those improvements and to continue to make those improvements. Trek, for those who know about Trek Bicyclists, they're one of the sponsors. So there's a couple of things in there that we recognize and say, okay, Trek, I know them. So so it's legit. It's a legit designation. Actually, there's a lot of communities throughout the nation that go for this, and it's difficult. It's not an easy process. So it's something they have to work for.
Very good.
Yeah.
I understand that the president of the League of American Cyclists just made special note about all the exciting options and bicycle opportunities in our city.
Yeah, he did. Andy Clark. And I've got his little quote here in my notes. It says, "We are inspired when we see places like Greeley making bicycling safer and more convenient," because that's what it's all about, is making things safer and convenient.
You bet. So what kind of improvements can we sort of expect to see out there, or have we seen?
Right, well, some of those are already there. There's some that are coming, but of course several of those made Greeley shine, which got us our bronze level. I don't think we mentioned that yet, that we're at a bronze level. Of course, that has to do with our number of bike lanes that we have in the city, making sure that it's safe, as we mentioned before. Bike events, hosting those bike events. And
last week was Bike to Work Day.
Yeah, we had the Bike to Work Day, and then also they've had various kind of smaller. We had the kickoff for the Greeley Unexpected campaign. They had a table down there and bike racks. That was fun to see that full. So just trying to have more of those events available for people to bike down to.
Did you
and
bike
get
to
involved.
work that day?
I did.
Good.
I did bike
I
to
never
work.
would because it would mess up my hair, but I'm very supportive of everybody else who does that.
I kind of did have helmet head, but it was okay. It was
I
okay.
couldn't live all day with helmet head. I couldn't.
I just looked like I had a really nice wave, this kind of wave thing going on.
It looked
So
like
anyway,
you did
was
it
all
on
good.
purpose.
I know.
Huh?
I see. It's all good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know that, there's 21 miles of biking heaven, as we like to call it, in Greeley, from Greeley all the way to Windsor.
Right now, yeah.
And anytime you drive, anywhere, anytime you're going north, it's just incredible to see the number of bikes out on the Pooter Trail.
Yep.
So great.
Despite the, I guess, outside of just the folks that are using your regular roads and streets, we also have that wonderful Pooter Trail, which is that 21 miles that goes to Windsor. But then there's also one that some folks may not know about, and this is a mountain bike skills course.
Yeah, see, I didn't know about this.
And this is, I remember when they were installing this several years ago, and it's located between, or just west of Far Branch Library, over by the Youth Sports Complex. You know where that is?
I do.
And it's a dirt trail. So it's a little different because so much of the trails, per se, around Greeley are all paved. And that's okay, fine and good, but sometimes you want something a little more challenging, or you want to simulate maybe a little bit more for mountain biking kinds of things. So they have this trail, there's different levels, there's all the way from beginner up to expert, I believe. So there's some tough
That's good
parts
to know. I'll
to
spread
it.
the word about that, 'cause I sure didn't know that.
And it's fun, just go back in there, and very, very natural all around it. But it gives you a chance to just kind of go in there and get some off-road skills and berms and those kinds of things.
Right.
Yeah, it's a great time.
Very good.
Yep.
I know we talked at one of our segments about the road diets that the city's been on. 13th Street is a really good example.
Yeah, and they're going to continue to look at that and to make those improvements throughout Greeley. So we'll start seeing more of those. And as always, when we're talking about biking, we always want to make sure that we mention the bike website, which is greeleybikes.com. And make sure you go there. Lots of great tips. Check out Eric Brackey, who's the city engineer that kind of oversees some of this biking stuff. He has a blog there, some really fun read. Yeah.
Well, he's been so instrumental in getting a lot of this stuff off
He
the
has,
ground,
and he's a
pretty proud of
he's
him.
a biker. Is that what you call him? Is that Anyway, he's a biker himself.
Yeah.
So he does lots of biking, and so it's just kind of a natural fit for him to do that.
Very good.
But I wanted to mention on the designation, there was only 259 cities nationwide that received a designation.
That's great.
We have
Out
to
of
assume
thousands and
I was gonna say,
thousands of
I don't have
cities.
any idea how many cities there are in the nation,
great.
but out of only 259. So it's a pretty poignant thing for us to.
It is, and
get
my
that.
guess, if I know Eric, he's probably not satisfied with bronze level.
No. He wants way better than bronze. As we mentioned, there's several levels, and he'd like to go for that platinum or even the diamond. There's a diamond level,
Very good.
and so they're going to continue to make those improvements and just make Greeley even more bike friendly. And of course, I'm sure if they have ideas, they can go to the greeleybikes.com webpage. I believe there's a place
great
there that they can pick
suggestion.
comments.
Yep.
And so otherwise, we're just going to continue to enjoy the roads, and we always have to mention, make sure that you're watching out for bicyclists, and bicyclists, you need to follow the rules of the road. That's the mom in me coming out. It goes both ways all the time. So.
Very good. Well, thanks for following up on this designation and researching the information for the story. That is going to do it for this edition of Real or Rumor. I do want to remind you to keep it on Channel 8. You can watch repeats of our show here. You can also check out YouTube, as always, because we're on there too.
That's right.
So until next time, I'm Cheryl Aragon.
I'm Amy Freeland. We'll see you then.